Good evening and welcome back to Betwixt Two Palms, and I'm your host Jimmy Kinnan. Tonight we have a guest here who works at an animal shelter and is here to talk about the state of animals and animal shelters in Perth. But first, our film crew followed and interviewed Blake Leggett, an amateur ice hockey player, to talk about the sport and its presence in Perth. Let's have a look.
My name's Blake Leggett and I am the General Manager and Assistant Captain of the Northern Wolverines ice hockey team. Ice hockey is a team sport with 5 players at a time on the ice per side, plus a goalie. And the idea is to get a small rubber disc called a puck through the other team's net, all whilst on thin metal blades on ice. Ice hockey isn't particularly big in Perth when you compare it to sports like Aussie rules or soccer. The National League has been running since 1908, which is a really long time for such a small sport. In the amateur league, there's 3 different divisions and then a super league, which is semi-professional above that. And then of course you have the National League, which is a professional level. So I originally got into ice hockey, funnily enough, through the Mighty Ducks movie. My brothers and I saw it when we were really young, loved it and thought the sport itself looked really cool. We then started seeing games on Foxtel, listening to podcasts on the radio, and then eventually signed up for a subscription service where you can watch every game. For Canadians who invented the sport, they start ice skating from a very young age, basically as soon as they start walking. But here in Australia, I didn't really ice skate until I was 24 years old when I decided I wanted to play. So that's probably the most difficult thing about playing, at least for me. During the regular season, which runs during the winter, the team trains once a week and we usually have 1 game every weekend.
1, 2, 3, Wolverines!
In the 4 years that I've been playing ice hockey, I've won the MVP, which is the most valuable player for the team, twice. But the most important award of all was the premiership, or the cup, that my team won in 2016. So my favourite part about ice hockey in general is the speed and the physicality of it. I love how rough it is, I love how fast it is, and it's just an amazing feeling.
Now joining us in our studio is Lavinia from the Animal Refuge Home and an organiser of Open Homes fundraiser. Hi Lavinia, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm feeling fantastic. And who have you brought with you?
I've brought Harper, she's one of our rescue dogs.
Oh, what breed is she?
She's a French Mastiff mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, she looks very relaxed today.
Yeah, she is. She's a bit sleepy, so she's just a bit quiet down there.
So could you tell us a bit about yourself?
So I was working in vet clinics and I realised a lot of the people who really loved their pets but could no longer have them didn't want to give them up to shelters.
Right.
And so they were a bit stuck about relocating their animals. So that's why I thought that, you know, maybe we should start a refuge home for these dogs.
Right. So, tell us about the animal shelters. I mean, obviously, you've got the RSPCA. What kind of sets your institution apart?
So we only take on a small amount of animals at a time, so we can give each dog some love and attention. And we personally find people who want dogs, not necessarily people come to us.
Right. So how is it working with animals? I imagine it'd be a lot of fun.
It is. We get to play a lot with dogs and we get to rehabilitate them and find them new homes, which is always nice.
So how do you select the families?
So the families can come register on our website and we find out things about them. So how many people are in their family, if they've got kids, how big their backyards are, what kind of schedule they have. And we try and find a dog that can suit their family so that dog is getting the best attention and love.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So what would an average day look like for you?
So we start at 6 a.m. We take the dogs for a walk, we give them breakfast and play around with them for a little bit. And by midday, we're in the offices doing our paperwork and updating our websites and social media to kind of find new homes for these dogs.
Right. And do you have any pets of your own?
At the moment, Harper is my pet. Some people who work at the shelter usually take the dogs themselves, and then we kind of give them back if they need a new home. But yeah, at the moment, Harper is mine.
Right. So tell me, how would we get involved if we?
So if you want to get involved, you can always donate to our website or our Facebook page. And if you'd like to register to be an owner, you can do that through the website.
Right. So can you walk us through the Open Homes fundraiser that you're currently
So
organizing?
our Open Homes fundraiser is we're opening our doors to different people to come and have a look at the dogs and see also the kind of shelter that we are. So people, if they do get into a situation where they can no longer care for their pets, or if they have to move away, they know that our shelter is one of the best in the city.
So I have a friend who considers himself more of a cat person. How exactly would I explain to him that he's wrong?
So I'm more of a dog person as well. Cats and dogs can get along. It depends on what kind of dog and what kind of cat and how old they both are. I would recommend if a person with a cat would want a dog, that they get a smaller dog just so the cat isn't intimidated and there's no power play between the two.
Yeah, well, I actually got a cavoodle puppy. Well, she's not a puppy anymore, but she's still a puppy to me, obviously, because she's this small and fluffy and white. And we actually got her and a kitten at around the same time, and they've always gotten along as they grew up to the point where the cat keeps grooming her, and it's a little weird and hard to explain to everybody else who's expecting them to be, running around after each other. But, I think that shows, what you're saying is right.
Definitely. Cats and dogs can get along, and families who think that they can't have dogs because of their cat should also include that on their registration form, so we can find a dog that would get along with their pets that they already have.
Right. I'll tell you something else. We got a Labradoodle, and it's very high energy. It loves to run around, and we got it as like a tiny little puppy, and now it's grown into this great big lumbering thing that just bolts around, tears up the grass, and we all love it. Dad obviously doesn't like it tearing up the lawn when we bring it over to his house, but he's part of the family now as far as we're concerned. The thing is, when you have somebody like my dad who, likes it when it's cute, but then once it gets bigger and it starts doing some damage, like, do you think that's on people to, kind of do some research about what you're getting into?
Definitely. Some people don't realise the amount of work that dogs can take, and I believe that if they are willing to accept an animal in their home, they need to accept it from when they're small and when they're big. We just usually recommend, if you have a lot of time and have a big backyard, that big dogs are for you.
Right. Well, looks like that's all the time we have. Before we go, would you like to say anything to the people watching?
Definitely check out our website and come to our fundraiser.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Thanks again for joining us, Lavinia. It was a pleasure having you here. Also, thank you viewers for watching. Join us next time as we take a look at the new Graffiti Art Museum, and we'll have Kelly Shelton here to talk about her new book, Alcohol is the Answer. Until then, good night and goodbye. Yeah, I've actually been getting into like record collecting recently. I don't know. Have you? No, you're just satisfied with the streaming services, more mainstream kind of person? Yeah, no, fair enough. No, I've been trying to understand Beefheart. Captain Beefheart for the first time. It's just, I got into it a few years ago and it's just never panned out for me. I just have no idea what's going on. Is that? Yeah. Does that ring true? Alanis Morissette. Who's interested in that kind of crap?